Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here with such an incredible group of speakers. The other reason I'm really happy to be here is actually a post that we shared recently, which is something that we've been thinking about a lot. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm having a little bit of a winter of scale, as I would call it, in relation to the subject we're talking about today. And thinking about Target, just in terms of setting the context for this part of the conversation, it is a company of scale. And just to give you an idea, we are the second largest retailer in the United States in terms of discount retailing. We have 1,921 stores, and we have an internal design department that produces 40,000 individual items that we alone sell each year. And they are part of the 361,000 people who actually comprise the Target team across the United States and across the world. And in terms of the social imprint that we have 28 million followers and fans. We have 30 million guests that visit our stores every week, and we have 37 million people who actually view us online every month. Last year, our sales totaled $73 billion. So, big company. But small company, humble company, started in 1962 in Roseville, Minnesota, and we grew up along with a lot of other discount retailers at the time. And what we needed to do is think about how do we differentiate ourselves, because in terms of discount retailing, it can often be just a price war. And the idea of actually being differentiated on price is, in our mind, a race to the bottom. So rather than think about that, we actually set out to differentiate ourselves based on great value. And the best way that we were able to articulate that in the 90s came from a very, very simple thought, which is expect more, pay less. And that has remained our promise since that time. And that is something that we always set out to do and measure ourselves against each and every day. And one of the things I love about it as a designer is I love the inherent duality of that thought of expect more, pay less, because in a way, they're not meant to go together. And in a way, there's an incredible tension and energy between those opposing forces when they come together. And that's what I love, because that is the point where you can actually create something new and go somewhere new. When I think about my job as a marketer, it's actually thinking about a similar kind of duality, which is it's the scale of the company, it's the scale of what it is that we're here to do and what we're here to manage. But it's also, in terms of a brand, it's about managing the relationship between the scale and the soul. And that to me is incredibly important, because that is its own duality, that is its own energy, and that is its own potential. So to think about what we do every day in the company and how we actually manage and balance those two forces is incredibly hard, but it's also incredibly gratifying, because it really is thinking about the business at scale and the brand with soul. So when I think ahead to where we are and where we're going, one of the things that we always have thought about is differentiating ourselves in terms of design. And as you all know, the microgrates teapot and the democratization of design that happened in the 90s is something that really did set Target apart. And what I love about that first shot of the store in Roseville, and I love about this shot, is just sort of what that has come to mean and how that's come to feel. And what I think is so wonderful about this photograph, it's actually a building that I studied in design school, and I'm sure many of you recognize, which is a masterwork by Louis Sullivan. And the idea of having Target reside in such a beautiful place that really is an expression of design at that moment at its highest, and have the ability to respect and restore that is something that I'm really proud of. What's also interesting is that where it's actually leading us in terms of what's important today in terms of being a leader in design, and what's important today in terms of inspiring people in ways that will improve their lives. So one of the jobs that I've set out to accomplish being new to Target is really to think about how do we define design in different ways today. So I thought about it in terms of what I'm calling 5 principles. And there are 5 areas that I think are incredibly important today, more so than ever, in terms of being emotional, being useful, being democratic, insightful, and purposeful. And I'm going to take you through each one of the 5 and show an example of what we've done in support of that. And what you'll notice is that each principle is actually written with its own kind of duality. And that was one of the charges that I gave the writers, which is, I want a little bit of that sort of balance, and I want a little bit of that energy and tension in each one of these. So it was an added layer of complexity, but I think it actually made it quite simple once the process started. So the first one is design that listens with an open heart and creates change with an open mind. And we were really pleased to actually partner with Lauren Bush-Lauren, who is the founder of Feed USA. And we partnered with her to develop a number of products that we sold in our stores for apparel and home. And each product had a small tag on it. And when you turned the tag over, it had a number. And what the number signified was the number of meals that would be donated based on the sale of that particular item at Target. And what she loved about what we did was obviously our interest in design, but also our scale and the ability for us to amplify the message that she was so passionate about. And listening to her and listening to her stories, we became passionate as well. And the goal that she had set for us was to be able to introduce this product line and donate 10 million meals. And what we were able to do together with her support and with the help of the designers that work within Target was actually to beat the goal and get to 14 million meals that we were able to donate through Feeding America. And here's just a small video of one of the stories and one of the people that it affected.
It's wonderful that there are programs like Meals for Minds where families come and pick up their family's food. Lashana is a mom of 4 children, 2 of whom had just made honor roll that day, which she was very proud of, and I was able to speak to her about her struggle to put food on the table.
My family was going through a lot, and I coupon clip, I competitor ads, and it just wasn't working. We're in a hotel.
Yeah.
We're not in a house or we're in a hotel.
She's a working mom. She actually doesn't qualify for government assistance.
When they initiated this program, it was just like, wow, okay. So we came, and just the benefit in itself, it's a great deal.
The Feed partnership with Target will help those kids and those moms like Lashana that really do need our support.
I say when I get on my feet, this will be a project that I volunteer for.
So one of many stories that we've been able to capture and share based on the efforts that we had together in that partnership with Lauren, which we're really happy to continue. The next expression of this in terms of usefulness is about challenging life's complexities to simplify the everyday. And one of the friction points that we know as a retailer in terms of people who are actually looking for deals and wanting to save money is just the pursuit of where those deals are online, in papers, clipping coupons, managing all that information, managing the barcodes, and dealing with the friction at the checkout where you're having to scan all of those items. So we actually created something that we launched in June called Cartwheel. And what it is, it's a mobile savings app that's based on the user. So it's a personalized version of savings that the user can actually build and manage in a very, very simple way. So you can add as many different things that are on sale that you're actually interested in, and you actually walk up to the checkout with one barcode and you get all the discounts taken in one pass. The other benefit to it is it actually part of a relationship we have with Facebook, and what it's based on in terms of the value is the more that you share, the more that you save, and the access you have to actually greater and better deals. The interesting thing about this is that it's actually been the highest traffic retail app on Facebook, and the redemption rate is 15 times that of the industry standard. So really excited about being able to bring that level of kind of simplicity to something that people do quite often, but be able to simplify it in ways that actually have real utility. So democracy is something obviously that is symbolic to Target, and we always pay attention to what's emerging. And one of our greatest areas of interest and passion is actually design and fashion design. So we're always on the market for the next emerging original vision. And how do we amplify that vision in a way that allows these people who are really clear in their thinking and very creative in their expression to have a wider and wider audience. And the most recent introduction we actually had was with Peter Pilotto. And we had an amazing launch with them, and we actually did it in partnership with Net-a-Porter for the first time internationally. So this is an image of one of the ads that we did. And obviously their area of expertise is print and pattern, and it just really felt right to us in terms of the brand because it had that level of kind of creativity and modernity and energy that we love, and just the images that we were able to create felt wonderful. Here's a clip from the TV. So next, this is actually the reason I fell in love with Target. And when I saw they were able to do this, and when I thought about the level of care and attention and investment they made into something that affects so many people, but no one actually had taken the time to care about it and invest in it and make it better, was something that really inspired me. And it's still, in my mind, kind of the high watermark for creating real change and using design to really improve one's life. So the idea of taking something as simple as a prescription bottle and looking at it and realizing that it hadn't changed in 50 years, and it took one person, which is Deborah Adler, and one experience, which is her grandmother mistakenly taking prescription that was her grandfather's, it inspired her to figure out a way to make it better. So she partnered with us, and we were able to actually innovate something that is as simple and as important as medication. And being able to bring information design together with industrial design made so much sense. And this is the introduction that took place a number of years ago to announce the design itself. And obviously it's something that has continued to be part of our offering at Target, and it continues to create an experience that I think people really do see as better for them. And we continue to push ourselves to improve it as well in terms of just the way it's designed, making the base wider, making it easier to use. It's just something that I would want us to have more of in as many places in the company as possible in terms of just taking those things that touch people's lives and making them better in the simplest ways. So last one for me is probably the most meaningful in terms of the thought, and this has its own duality, but it also has an homage to Mr. Louis Sullivan, because I wanted one of these principles to have a little bit of form follows function. And what this means for me in terms of being centered around purpose and purpose-driven design, and to understand the real change it can create in someone's life, and to see it and to feel it and to be part of it is an incredible honor. And when I think about the soul and the scale of Target, this is where it really comes to life for me, which is these set of numbers. The first one is 5, and it represents the percentage of our profits that we give to communities. So 5% of our profits to communities. We've done it for 51 years. 1 million represents the number of hours, volunteer hours, that Target team members devote each year. 4 million represents the number of dollars that we donate each week to communities. And 1 billion is the amount of money that we are donating to education this year. And you can look at the numbers and you can think about the scale, and you can understand the importance of it and the focus that we have and the commitment we have to education. But that's only part of the story. In the end, it's how it makes you feel. And to be able to understand the importance of that and the significance of that kind of change and what the greater good really does look like and really does feel like, it's best told this way.
Yes! I'm excited! Someone has is a fish. Yeah! Yeah!